I think I was too emotional when I played. I was far too emotional when I played, too aggressive and too wound up. And my brother knew that, and it's what he done. He just wound me up all the time. To the point, even when I started playing professional football, I was always there on the edge. The thing with my brother Morris is that he let you know that he was the best player. He was a very hard taskmaster in respects of my footballing education without even knowing it. Literally drove me insane trying to be better. You know, he's just a big brother who just teased and teased me to some of the times I'd cried, you know, teased me to tears. You know, practicing, you can't kick with your left foot, so I'd practice. And even when I did do it and got to a level where, you know, this all inadvertently turned me into the footballer that I turned into. You know, I remember the time when boys started to get bicycles and I didn't get a bike. And that was a sad time for me, but I didn't realise all I'd done was played football on my own. Went through those poles, doing the keepy-uppies. And I remember when I first got into the team and I had to play with his year, he used to, on purpose, we used to have the game on a Saturday, we used to have to get up early enough to get to Gordon Brook so we could get the coach to get to the football match. And he would purposely act like he's sleeping. We're gonna be late, and I'll be trying to wake him up. He tells the story. Tried to wake him up until I was like, tears was nearly coming, and he wouldn't get up. He said, "I'm not going football today. I don't want to go." And I'll be, "Please, Morris, please get up." And then we get up and we go to the game. And those are the things. What I don't know. It kind of from an early age, football and needing to play and desperate to play football never left me. Never left. The best thing that ever happened to me, and it's even to this day, because I loved him so much and he was my hero and he always will be, was when I got chosen to play in a school team, Gordon Brook, when I was just turned 8. And I got chosen to play in his team. We played a game against a school called Fairlawn. And we beat them, and he scored this fantastic goal with his left foot at Ladywell Park it was. And ever since that goal he scored that day, to all the goals, every single great goal that I so-called scored through my career, he never ever gave me any credit that any of my goals was better than that goal he scored for Fairlawn until I scored a goal against Everton. And then he said, yeah, that was better than my goal against Fairlawn. In the house, it was quite oppressive. Then I had a stepfather who was a real, he was a weed smoking, gambling, coming late gambling kind of womanizing guy who was really rough with my mum, rough with us. He'd come in and match of the day and he'd say, turn around to the wall. So match of the day would be there and we'd have to turn around to the wall here. And like him and my mum would argue about it, and you know what I mean, he would shout my mum down or some form of aggressive, you know what I mean, shout down, so we'd have that to deal with. And then what my brother would do is that when they were arguing and you could hear the scuffling, he'd cover my ears. And so he'd cover my ears and then we would looking at the wall, but you know, I'd be just crying and he would shout saying, "Stop crying." So you know when you have to do that, you know, suppressive crying is the worst kind of crying because you can't stop that. And you know what I mean, and he'd still be shouting at you to tell you to stop crying. And you know, it's even now when because I do match of the day obviously now, and every single time the first bars of match of the day start, I feel something. It makes me feel something, because he wouldn't let us watch it just because he could. And you know, it's a horrible thing because I feel that it was unnecessary. And you know, it was again, and it's just another thing that contributed to frustration and anger for me. I went through a phase, I'd say from about, I don't know, like 9 till 13, 14, where when I went outside, anything that happened, like when I played football, if I got tackled, bang, spring up, I'd fight, punch. You know what I mean? We'd be on the street, any kind of gang thing happening, people them against us, fight. Everything was fight, because like in the house, I couldn't do anything. I didn't have any power in the place at all. And what I found is that when I started playing football, I got respect and power. And when I got tackled or someone was done well, I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to deal with better players who could deal with my so-called skill and my pace and that. So the first thing I done was fought them, a fight. Everything was a confrontation. And as the years went by, and when I was latter stages of my career, and I went to see a counsellor, a lot of stuff stemmed from my household. Fighting I loved it, because you could play football, and then if it kicked off, bang. And for a while I thought that's how it had to be. And people would say things like, "You're a really good player, why are you getting involved? Why do you get involved in that?" Even to the point when I was a professional, people say, "Yeah, if you wind him up, he could go." But what happened is that I got myself in a situation where I was able to channel it, to channel my aggression. People think that people thought, I should say, that I got sent off a lot. I didn't get sent off a lot. I must have got sent off in my whole 16-year career. I think I got sent off 5 times, and 4 of those was in the last 18 months. So, you know what I mean? I didn't get sent off a lot, because I totally got in control of it. And I was able to really channel the aggression, which was something that I had a problem with right to the end. Because I remember when I was at West Ham and I got sent off at Leeds, I ended up kind of like almost blacking out, and I smashed the referee's room to smithereens. Threw all their clothes in the bath, threw the television up against the wall. It's like I blacked out with pure rage, because I felt like, it's almost like when I was younger, I felt hard done by, and you know what I mean? I felt like I was being picked on there. I was never ever really truly in control of the anger. It's like, with the Avengers Assemble film, when the first one went Hulk, when they say, "Are you going to change?" and he says, kind of turns around to the camera and says, "I'm always angry." That was, I think, when I saw that in the film, the Avengers film, it just made me really smile, because I think all the way through my football career, I was angry, and like, because I got in so late, I felt like I was running out of time. So when I saw that with the Hulk saying, "I'm always angry," bam, turn into the Hulk. I love that. It's a great line for me.